Hi guys, how are you guys out there? Thank you once again for coming on our show, Pro Traders Network. We are doing a pre-market open market overview today. And I'm Ardy, basically the founder of ProTradersNetwork.com. And with me here is Hamza, our pro analyst. How are you, Hamza?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you, Ardy?
I'm great. I'm doing great. And I'm all stoked to actually, trade in the coming week. And as usual, we do our market overview so that ourselves as well as our audience and our followers out there basically is prepared on what to look out for things on the charts, as well as what are the possible trade setups there are in the market, so that next week you can take that wonderful trade that's going to make you profitable for the week. All right, so without further ado, I think I'll now pass it over to Hamza. He's going to cover the US dollar index and some of the major pairs as well as the cross pairs. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Hamza.
yeah. So let me. I think you have to
Yep.
able me to share my screen.
Okay, done it.
Yeah, let me. Yeah. So. So let me first of all have a look at DXY. So basically, this is the 4-hour chart on DXY, and let me just put it here. And first of all, let me start from daily time frame. So as we can see here, that DXY has gone with the touch with this resistance zone. So actually this was a support right here, again support, then acted as a resistance, then again acted as a resistance. Right now it is um, connecting with this resistance area. So this is a huge resistance for DXY right now, and we are also seeing some bearish price action of this resistance zone. So for the upcoming week, in order to move DXY to the upside, it has to clearly break out of this resistance area and maybe a retest for another move to the upside. So if we zoom in to the 4-hour chart, we can see that the price action here is very aggressively to the downside. So we are facing this resistance, so we are closed below this area again. So I need to see a clear breakout of this area and a retest for the next move to the upside. So what I think is, we should probably, we may probably have a corrective move downside to this area, because this was an area that haven't got a retest. And if I put my fib to the latest move, latest impulse to the upside, so we can see that this area is also influenced by the 0.61 and 0.65 of Fibonacci zone. So maybe if we get a pullback off of this resistance, so we may see the price go to this area and possibly made another impulse to the upside. So right now, these are two possible scenarios for the DXY. If we get a clear close above this resistance, so this will send the DXY to this area, clear breakout to this resistance and a retest for another move to the upside. Or if we get some more correction, so I will be looking for some long setups here at this area, point 65 and 0.61, and influenced by this resistance that will now flip to the support. So this is what I'm looking for, DXY. So if we have a look on USDJPY, um, so actually this is setting up for the nice intraday trade. As we can see here that we dropped from this resistance area. Actually this was a uptrend channel, and we just dropped from the upward line of this area. Right now for me, this is a area of support. As we can see that this was previously a resistance, break to the upside. This was resistance here, we got a break to the upside, then we came back to retest it. So if we get some type of a bullish rejection candles at this area, we may see the USDJPY moving to the upside in coming days. So we need to see some type of confirmation like rejection candles or bullish engulfing candle or something like that for another move to the upside. So this would be a good intraday setup in terms of USDJPY. So we may also get a more correction to the downside before an upside move. So if this area doesn't hold, we could see the USDJPY move here at this area. So then I will be looking for long setups here at this area. So we need to see what the market reacts at these area. If we get rejection candles here, I will looking for buys. Stop loss will be below this area. The first target will be this high. Or if we didn't hold this area, I'll be looking for some continuation to the upside at this area. So this is for the USD JPY. Actually, if we have a look at some cross pair. Like for Euro CHF, this is very interesting to me. As we can see, if we go to the 4-hour chart, let's have a look at the daily first of all. So this was a as we can say, this was a resistance area that get broken to the upside. Then we came back and to retest this area, and we completed its correction move. Now it has completed its correction to this area. Now we could see some opposite price action from here. So let me explain what I'm saying. As we can see from here that we are going to downside. This is probably a slanting downward trend line. We are making lower highs and lower lows. So the trend is to the downside, and I will be looking for short right around this area. Looking for short here on the retest of this area. Our target will be this area. So in order to see some clear picture, let me go to the 4-hour chart, and as we can see from here that this was a range, price was moving in a range, we got a breakout, then again came we inside this range and then moving in this range. Right now we get a breakout below this range. So right now what I'm expecting is move to the upside toward this area for a retest, and then continuation to downside uh, for this move. So for me, this will be a good trade setup. I will be shorting here if we get some confirmation candles, some rejection candles. Stop loss will be above these points, and the target will be this area of support. This will be a nice 1 to 4x to reward ratio. So this kind of scenario is also making up for Euro Canadian. If we have a look on Euro Canadian, we can also see that the trend is to the downside. Trend is to the downside, and we was in a range for some long period of time, and now finally we get a break to the downside. So right now what I'm expecting is a move back to this area for a retest, and if we get a rejection candles or a bearish price action here, I'll be looking for shorts. So my first target will be this area, 1.4546 area, and the next downside target will be um, let me just, yep. So the next downside target will be 1.4445. So uh, continuation to the downside on this area. First target will be here, and if we get a break and a retest of this area, we will probably be seeing Euro Canadian moving to the downside. So this is for Euro Canadian. Let's have a look at some more major pair. If we got an Australian US dollar, and yep. So here we can see mm, the daily trend has now shifted to the downside. This was probably a um, mm, pattern, maybe a right left shoulder head and right shoulder. This was a neckline, a breakout, and then a retest and a continuation to the downside. So here at this area I Also shared trade idea to short Australian on this retest. I also got this position um, for Australian. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, we can see that this was a retest and we got a fake out, then we closed below this area. So this was a price I entered short position here. First target was this area. I closed my position here 50% of the position and then trail my stops. So we got a breakout of this area and then I got my trailing stop to this area, and I just got out of the remaining half of position at this area. So right now what are the possible scenario for Australian? So let me have a look at the daily. And from daily, what I'm expecting is if we get another move to this area, this will be a resistance zone. So I will be interesting again to short Australian USD, and my target will be these areas uh, and this area. So let me just mark this thing up. So this would be the first target, and this would be the probably the second target. um yeah, so right here. No. Yes. So if we get another move to this side and get rejection candle at this resistance, I will be more interesting in selling at this resistance, targeting these areas in coming weeks. So I'll probably share the setup that will form the market and our community. So make sure you are in this community. And
Yep.
yeah.
I think,
So
yeah, Hamza, I look at the Aussie dollar chart. Yes, it does look quite bearish at this point. So where you have marked the resistance, definitely that's around near the 0.7600 level. But what happens if, let's say, price closes above 0.76?
yeah, let me just, so yeah. So so we are talking about this scenario,
Yep.
right? Like if we get moved to the upside, but this resistance area does not hold, and we close above this area. So in this kind of scenario, what I look, if I go to the 4-hour chart so that we can clearly see. So in these kind of scenarios, what I probably look is if we get a close above to this area, and then I will see probably how the price reacts to this area. So some of the time price reaches this area and then again close below this area, so making a fake breakout. If this happen, I will be shorting again. This is the high probability selling setup to the downside. But if this area, if we get a close above and downside move, this area acts as a support and we get a rejection candle, then I'll be probably changing my mind and seeing what the market does. So I'm not entering the bias here right area, but I'll be waiting until we started making bullish price action, like this resistance broken to the upside, then it will act as a support. So then I'll be more interested in buying here rather than this area. So I will wait until a trend established to the opposite side. So this will probably the scenario if we get a close above, and I will see how the price reacts at this area. If it bounce to the upside, then I'll be more interested in buying at these areas, targeting these highs. So
All right. Thanks so
mm,
much, Hamza, on the overview of the greenback and basically the USD yen as well as the euro crosses. And yeah, some of the euro crosses look great for short. And
yeah,
also for the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, basically, we are looking at a bearish situation, and it's going to be very important how price reacts at the 0.76 level. Yep.
up.
Uh,
So if we, sorry, I'm just cutting you.
yep.
Uh, so this is the same scenario that we are just talking about on Aussie. As we can see that this was a support,
Mm.
price break to the downside. Now it should act as a resistance, but it we close back to the upside. So here's what I'll be looking for pound. If we get a corrective correction down to this area, I will be seeing how the price reacts at this area. If it aggressively close back below, so this whole move would be a fake out. then I will be interested in selling here at this area, targeting this area. So but if this didn't happen and this area acted as a support, then I will be seeing move to the upside and seeing some type of bullish structure, resistance broken to the upside, then came back to retest, then I will be more interested in buying here. Targeting will be this area to the upside. So that's how I trade these kind of scenarios for the. So
Looks good.
yeah,
Yeah, looks
sorry.
good, Hamza. And I think you are going to update all these charts in our community in
Yeah.
ProTrader.com too, right?
Yes. Probably I will be sending. There are more setups that are setting up for the next week, so we'll be sharing that in our community. So
Yep.
make sure you people are there to get these kind of advantages over the market.
Yep. So for myself, I've been like with all the other analysts, we analyze the charts of various markets. And if you trade FX, crypto, even stocks and commodities, you might want to join us and look for setups together with us as
Yeah.
we update the charts on a daily basis so that you too can actually benefit from our analysis today and as we move forward. So it's not like leaving you hanging in the balance, right?
Yeah. So
Okay, Hamza, is it okay for me to take over now?
yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to be sharing next on my screen. And so I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin as well. After that, I'm going to look at the XAUUSD, also the, of course, gold. All right. So let me just share my screen. All right. So on the left side of, okay, now I'm going to just share with you the Bitcoin USD on the weekly time frame. So last week, what I've done was actually to draw the support zone, which is marked in blue here. And I said that if the candle basically close in with a pintail like this, we got to see how this week pans out. And apparently this week we have a very small candle, a small range, which means to show that basically the market is undecided at this point, and I believe we might still go on a sideways movement for next week, right? But apparently price have recovered a little. We dropped to a low of around $29,000 for Bitcoin USD, and right now we are at 35,000. So for those people who actually bought at this support level, it's clear they made about 15 to 20% profits, and yeah, that's the kind of profits you can make in Bitcoin and in the crypto market if you know what you're doing, right? So moving on to the daily time frame, having looked at the weekly time frame, right now we are basically price is actually moving within this area, right? So this is the area that is moving, and we are going to wait for the breakout, whether to the upside or the downside. But at this moment, the structure looks kind of bearish, with the left side being we have a left shoulder and the head around this region, and this can be seen as a right shoulder. We need price to move somewhere in this region and to make higher highs and higher lows to actually basically it can act basically as a proof that the trend might have changed back from bearish to bullish, right? But for now, we do not actually have that confirmation yet. And I would say that we should actually be patient. If you are going to be trading Bitcoin USD, you should be targeting the lows here and the highs at this point, right? So if it goes down here, you might see some buyers coming in who might be actually targeting the center of this range here, right? So you might want to actually break it down into these parts. Let me just show you, right? So if it goes to the downside, right, we might see some buyers coming in, and they might actually buy to target areas back in the middle, and some of STP1, you could put that as your first take profit position before the TP2 around this region, right? So if it straight away goes up, then some buyers here will be targeting here as their first take profit, right? And beyond, after that, I would say that most sellers will be coming at this region to push price lower. So now that we are still within this sideways triangle, all right, so it's more of a swing traders game at the moment, right? It's more of a swing traders game. What do you think, Hamza?
Yeah, actually think the same. As long as we are in this range, so we need to avoid. So at the same time, we can enter some intraday setups on these support and resistance on the upper and lower boundaries of this range. So it is
Yeah.
really difficult to predict whether it is gonna move to the upside or to the downside. So we need to wait until the market kind of break out in either side. So in order to enter.
Yeah. And let me just draw this slanting line. Right, so you can see that there is still some room here before it reaches this slanting line. So once it reaches here, then I think a decision needs to be made, okay, by the market basically, whether it wants to go up or it wants to go come down further. So for now, we still have this room, right, about a month more, okay, from where we are now, and possibly to reach the slanting line in August, on the 11th to 12th of August, around that time period, we might then see more precise and more, I guess, clear signal from the charts and from the market, right? So
Yep.
okay, so let me, yeah, Hamza, you want to add in something?
No, I just saying that I do agree with you.
Yep, yeah. So unless of course we see something different, then we would update you guys. As you guys know, we would always be every week. We plan to actually come create new videos and create new updates, provide new updates for you guys on a more consistent basis. Okay. So next we have the XAUUSD, and this is the daily time frame. Right. So I'll just move to the weekly. All right, so on the weekly chart, you can see that this particular breakout is basically a false break, right? This is a false break, and price have actually fell lower. And at this point in time, I believe that because of the US dollars basically retracing lower on Friday due to the NFP, right? Basically, the non-farm payrolls figures was better than expected. However, the unemployment figures actually was a bit disappointing, right? So
Yep.
that gave the reason for the market to actually sell the US dollars, and it actually came down. And as you know, XAUUSD is in inverse correlation to, of course, the DXY. So when DXY starts to fall, we see the XAUUSD going up. But this momentum to the upside, okay, is, in my opinion, um, is indecisive, right? At this point, unless we see that, okay, I think next week is going to go up. It's going to go up, but I'm not confident it will go up all the way to this level at 1855. I'm just a bit more sure that if it goes up, it will test the 1814 region, right? And if it tests this area, this is also the slanting line resistance. And if it's going to be hitting this area, it might even fall further, right? So if it falls further, I think the 38.2 Fibonacci level is the next support zone, right? But if it breaks out from here, then we might have a continuation to the upside. But that really depends, right? That really depends on what the greenback, what the US dollars does, okay? So for the time being, it's a bit difficult to say, and we are still actually watching and observing. But for maybe from Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday, we might see gold actually testing the upside. Yeah. What do you think, Hamza?
Yeah, I think the same. Um, the 4 hour range that we just talked about the last week is still intact. If we go to the 4 hour,
Okay, let me
in,
just go to the 4 hour chart. Yep.
yeah. So this range that it just stuck in needs to be broken before continuation to the either side. So last week we get a false breakout to the downside, and then uh, um, we came inside this range again, and we test the upper boundary of this range. So for me, I think we are more kind of interesting. The market is more kind of interesting in breaking to the upside, as it has um, made a fake breakout of this range. So probably we'll wait until the upside range breakout, and it needs to retest to confirm the breakout. So in order to move further, so we'll
Yep.
see how the market reacts in these areas. So
Yep. So it's quite basically not an easy market to trade at this point, I would say.
yeah,
Yep. It's not a really clear-cut market. It's actually a market that's actually requires a lot of observation, and you really need to control your risk management well, because you can see that when it breaks down in this region, it's actually a false break.
yeah,
And so you might see a lot of people going short here, but well, they got their trades all possibly, hitting their stop loss when it goes back into the sideways range, right?
sure.
Yeah,
That's why we wait for a confirmation, possibly a retest with rejection, so to confirm the breakout. So
yeah. So even on the weekly, I said just now that it might go up, but if it goes up, it might test this area here.
yeah,
But yeah, so we got to see on this forward chart that it breaks. If it closes here above this line here, we might
yeah,
see further upside to this point before it goes down further again, because this is a weekly resistance, right?
yeah,
Yep. So I think we have come to the end of our session today. Thank you guys for actually, tuning in with us and being with us, looking through our analysis. And hopefully you guys can also give some comments on whether you agree or not to our analysis. And myself and Hamza would definitely appreciate it if you could actually share with us your comments and your ideas, as well as whether you agree or disagree. And yeah, if you have any questions, just put it down over there, and we'll try to answer your questions.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So if also don't forget to actually subscribe to our channel so that you can actually get the latest updates on the financial markets, right? So also, if you would like to join us in our community, look for the links in our description, and just yeah, hope to see you in our community soon. All right. So any last words, Hamza?
Yeah, I was just trying to say that make sure you check out our community as well. We're providing good value here in our community. Basically, we share the daily trade ideas, so educational videos, and other educational articles as well. So make sure you check out our community, and you'll probably enjoy, and will be with us for the long time. So
Yeah. So thanks so much again, guys, and we are gonna wish you basically profitable trading next week, all right? And
yeah,
practice proper risk management. All the best, you guys. See ya in the
have a
next
good day.
video.
Thank you.